So a director that over the past few years has kind of like been getting a lot of stick and people have somewhat turned on him, especially within the film community, is Wes Anderson. Where do you stand on Wes?
Wes Anderson is another director that I have great admiration for. I enjoy his style, but I do not resonate with his movies. I don't know. It's weird with him. It's like, wow, like look at the cinematography, look at how stylized it is, look at the beauty of it. Great, but I don't feel anything. That's how I feel about Wes Anderson.
Yeah, I'm kind of going on a similar journey in that I always look forward to his films. I'll always give them the time of day. I'll definitely go and watch them. But it is kind of feeling a bit mandatory in a way. Not bad. I kind of feel awful saying that because we're still we're so lucky to have a Wes Anderson out there. I mean, his films don't make that much money, but he still has full autonomy and gets to in a way make the same film over and over again. Because especially his last few, I haven't seen The Phoenician Scheme, which just came out, but definitely with Asteroid City and French Dispatch, which I like, there is a sense that, okay, he's not changing. You're always going to have the aspect ratio, the box frame. He's always going to do that. The very weird characters and the bizarre dialogue. But I just feel like maybe he's doing interesting work, but it's all feeling a bit samey.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like he's just fit himself into this his own kind of genre. He's created his own genre, and I mean that's what a Wes Anderson film is. That's what you to expect. But it's interesting that you're starting to feel a little bit. It's starting to feel a little bit tiresome. Like in terms of just that's the thing. It's about the presentation to me is always secondary. And the narrative has always got to be the driving force, in my opinion, which is so funny after I've just spoken about Beau is Afraid, which has no narrative whatsoever. So this is full of so many
bollocks and contradictions.
Bollocks and contradictions. But no, generally speaking, it's true though. Narrative is the most important thing. And I just felt like, again, it's just like it's a secondary thing. Beautiful film, but it's difficult to sit through 2 hours of it.
No, I do feel you. I think the last one that really resonated with me, I mean resonated in terms of the entertainment value, was definitely Isle of Dogs. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't. No,
that was his his last stop motion film, and I still found that really worked, even though it does share many of the Wes Andersonisms.
Probably just because it's stop motion.
Yeah,
stop motion
maybe.
Yeah,
but I feel like that really worked. But his style I think the problems started to show after Grand Budapest.
Yeah, okay.
Because Grand Budapest was when his style really popped off. Yeah, that's when Tumblr and Instagram had first started.
Yeah.
And what I think Grand Budapest, that's probably, that's his best film. Really.
Okay. Yeah.
But when you look at it in the context of his later work, it's where the cracks start to show. And I think it is the best of that group of his later work, from the 2010s onwards. But I said before, it is just kind of feeling like
the same thing.
I know what I'm getting. This is going to be so idiosyncratic, so weird, the characters I might relate to. And, it's unique. It's amazing to have a unique voice still working today. But it just...
What is it?
It's not hitting.
What did you think? Did you like Asteroid City, or was it kind of the same thing where it was kind of...
I think it was a case of at the time... I kind of told myself, oh yeah, I really like this. I don't think it's awful, but...
Don't worry, you could admit that you don't like
But no, having gone back to it since, I don't know, it left me quite cold.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's a lot of directors. I mean, you could say the same maybe for Yorgos Lanthimos. Yeah. Because it's
interesting.
It's like...
Yeah, no, Yorgos is a good one to talk about.
Yeah, because... and I was going to compare him a little bit to Ari Aster because I definitely see similarities there. Just in terms of the wide shots and all that stuff. But yeah, you could say the same for him in terms of, what you're getting with him. I'd say Poor Things is definitely...
I loved
technically his most successful film. Yeah. I think it's probably his best. It's another case where we talk about Sean Baker, his most successful film, also being his best film, which is fantastic.
But
But yeah, it's the case of like, you know that you're going to get weird dialogue, you're going to get weird characters, you're going to get a weird stylized movie.
But it's so bizarre because like with Sean Baker, I'm not saying he does the same thing, but we know what a Sean Baker film is. But at the same time, it's like he's constantly like adding new layers to his style and improving it. Yeah. So it never feels like I'm getting the same film twice of him, even though it has dickish characters, fantastic dialogue.
Do you feel like do you feel like with Wes, he's kind of like always exploring the same themes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay,
it's like kind of like you have your homework to do, but you're going to put like a new coat of paint over it. But I know I haven't seen Kinds of Kindness.
Oh yeah, Kinds of Kindness.
I haven't watched that. Wait,
did
you see it?
Kinds of Kindness. Yeah, I've seen it. I saw it twice. Kinds of Kindness is one of those films that was weird. It was kind of like, it was kind of slipped under the rug. Like not many people talked about it. I suppose it's because it's definitely one of more of his more indie films. It's weird that he released. It's kind of cool that he released Poor Things and then just quietly released Kinds of Kindness after. And you can definitely feel the kind of more indie vibes when you go back to his older films. It's not my favorite of his. It is very, very, very bizarre. It's kind of like just like watching it, you're like, wow, this is fucking really out there, full of really disturbing scenes. I also didn't really like it as an anthology film because you kind of you get sucked into one story and then it just ends and then there's another and then it just ends and then it just didn't feel like it didn't feel like a well-rounded 2 hour and a 45-minute film.
Do you think it was maybe like indulgent, but in the worst kind of way?
Yeah, no, it was a bit indulgent. To be fair, Yorgos is always fucking indulgent, though, innit? That's what we enjoy about him. But yeah, like you say, in the worst way. Yeah. Again, I didn't dislike it. I still think it's enjoyable.
Especially like I love Killing of a Sacred Deer, but man, it is indulgent.
Yeah, of course.
And at times, teetering on pretentious, but it has enough to back it up where I'm not like, okay, you're a pretentious director, you're just very artsy and doing your own thing.
I think Yorgos, in terms of just the directing style, is probably the closest director we have currently. Kubrick,
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, especially Killing of a Sacred Deer is very, very close to it.
Yeah, I mean, God, he loves those tracking shots and
just the wide shots.
And he'll hold on it for like God knows how long.
I mean, he even used the soundtrack of The Shining in... So it's not even like he's trying to hide it. It's like, you can tell that he's definitely inspired.
What, in Killing of a Sacred Deer?
Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of Shining music in it. But he's another director that I'm always excited for. But hopefully it doesn't turn into that as well with him, where it's just it's just the same fucking thing.
I don't see it becoming a Wes situation. Because a lot of people outside the film community, probably they don't really know Yorgos. They'll know his films. But it seems like Wes has become very much a style outside of like, film Twitter and Letterboxd and whatnot. So I feel like that's why people both in the film community and outside of it are kind of turning on him.
Oh, they actually?
Okay. Yeah, because they just feel like his style has become formulaic.
So I guess it's a little bit like his style alone just doesn't justify itself anymore, which is a shame. Because some directors, they do. Like, you could say the same for many. Like, you could say the same for Tarantino, It's like what you're getting with the Tarantino film, but it's always just a wild ride.
It's such a conundrum, isn't it? Because I feel like us personally, we're kind of contradicting ourselves in a way, because there are some directors that we love who maybe don't change up their style or very much they follow not a similar pattern, but you always know what you're getting. But then it still works. It's very weird how, like with Wes, that's what
I think. It comes down. Like I was talking about the narrative. I think you said that his themes are always the same. I think that's the issue. It's like he's not exploring new depths. Particularly, it's just the same kind of themes, the same kind of presentation. You're not getting anything, different. Whereas with other films, they can be presented in the same way. And they got the same style that we all come to love about them.
There's a deeper narrative. There's a through line.
Yeah, there's a difference with it. It changes it up. There's a variety there. So that's probably the difference.
Because it does sometimes feel like with Wes, I'm watching a collection of scenes that he has been like thinking of for like God knows how many years now, and he really likes them, and so do the actors. They're well written, but and it's fine when a director makes a film just for themselves. I mean, God, there are so many films that we like where you can tell the director has done. I mean, like bloody I love Tenet. That Christopher Nolan definitely made that for Christopher Nolan and the world as well. He has like those sensibilities, but it does feel like with Wes, I'm like snoopy in on a conversation that I shouldn't be. Where it's like these characters are so bizarre, the dialogue is so idiosyncratic and so strange.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, should I be listening?
Really?
Do I get this? And I felt that with a lot of his films, just especially since Grand Budapest.
But not in a good way. Not in a good way.
It's so odd. I don't know what it is. It's just like the style. Maybe I'm over his style.
Yeah.
And it's odd because Grand Budapest, coming back to that, is his most like Wes Anderson-y film.
Yeah.
It still had like kind of an emotional through line.
I didn't even really like Grand Budapest. I'll be honest. Yeah.
Really?
Grand Budapest is fantastic in many ways, but I just didn't enjoy it. I don't. Why would I come back to it? I don't know. It's just like a one-hit kind of thing. It's not saying anything in particular. It's just kind of. It's a bit silly, and again, we talk about his style. You can see it replicated in so many different things. I mean, even the way commercials now. You can see a lot of
the Wes Anderson style,
and the way like social media people like
because his style is...
And fair play. There's nothing
of course.
against him.
No, and I'm sure he's not complaining.
Yeah,
but on the surface, his style is very avant-garde and weird, but it's almost become quite mainstream.
Yeah,
it's like, which is the mark of how successful he's become. Mm-hmm. But it's like you say, I'm making a Wes Anderson style TikTok or an Instagram story.
Yeah,
you know what you're getting.
I suppose it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
It's interesting that people can do that, because I suppose it's like, I don't know what you could say about how easily replicable someone's work is. I mean, it's, a lot of people say, you couldn't possibly replicate a Tarantino film. You couldn't possibly replicate a Yorgos Lanthimos film. Like, they're so distinct. Whereas with Wes Anderson, it's pretty much by the numbers. Like, you could easily do it. It's just 2D stuff. Basically, flat paint,
symmetrical shots,
that kind of thing. It's easily replicable.
Pastel colors.
So maybe that's why people are kind of picking it apart.
Yeah,
they're like, well, I can do this on my fucking iPhone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whereas with other directors, their style is more complicated and hard to replicate.
Yeah, or like Christopher Nolan, because people may take the piss out of his style, but I mean, if you look at the way he makes his bloody films, I don't think anyone could.
There's so much more depth there.
Exactly. I mean, 100%.
I have seen people do. I have seen people do like spoofs of him where they're just doing like the replica.
The Inception, the blah, blah, blah.
No, and just like the overly like painstakingly complicated dialogue.
Yeah,
they're like,
you park your boat on one side, but it ends up on the other. You don't know where you're walking, but you walk backwards. It's a paradox, but it makes sense. It's a It's
a grandfather paradox. You don't understand it.
Feel it.